Do you ever buy a product or a program and they have one of those really fun custom GPTs that makes your life way easier and delivering on the promise of whatever it is that you bought? Well, today I want to show you how to make one of those in minutes. My name is Cody Birch, and I've been adding custom GPTs as order bumps and upsells to my offers for the last few months, and it's made a big difference. Here are some of my sales statistics. This is the most recent one. It's a custom GPT that writes a Google Doc sales page. That's the one I'll demo for you there. 56 people bought it. It made $1,512. This one was a workshop outline custom GPT. 52 people bought that for $934. Flashback funnel GPT. Pretty much I just make a custom GPT for whatever the workshop is that I'm hosting and offered as an order bump. I made one that wrote ads. I made one that wrote offers, one that outlined your offers. I've done it a bunch. So those are some of the results. So here's the one that I made yesterday. It's called the Sales-Page-O-Matic, and it helps people create a Google Doc sales page in a few minutes. Here's a quick demo of how it works. So you click the Get Started button. It asks a simple question based on my unique framework, which is your anchor model and your anchor offer. So I'll spare you the details on that. But it just asks me for one piece of information at a time. Now, if you have it, I programmed it this way. If you already have the resource, you just paste it. If not, no worries. And I was doing a quick demo, so I turned on dictation mode and just started talking about it. And then it's like, that's cool. I've got that part now. Next, what is your anchor offer? Like, how do you package up your offer? Because it's going to write a Google Doc sales page. So the same thing, I just talked through it. You could upload the doc if you had one. And it says, great, this is clear. You've now got both pieces, the model and the offer. Here's what I have so far. It's just reminding me and prodding me along and holding my hand while I'm working on the details of what would ultimately be a Google Doc sales page. And then it starts to build out piece by piece. So I just wanted to show you what it does. That's how it works. It goes back and forth and it coaches you. This is one that I just made and sold a bunch of copies of. And here's the output. So after a lot of back and forth and me uploading different docs and trainings, and a lot of it's recapping what we have, then here's what it came up with. This is the output. This is the finish line. This wrote a page that's ready to be copy and pasted into Google Docs so I can start to sell it. So I would just have to click copy, drop it into Google Docs, and I'm good to go. And maybe add some links and stuff like that. So it's got a headline, it's got a big promise, why this matters to me, why most businesses struggle with this, the big problems that we're going to be solving, how we're going to fix the problems with pillar content, the different projects we're going to work on, etc. But it built this out in minutes. So I love it. All of my customers that bought this love it, and it generated quite a bit of revenue. And here's how I did it very quickly. Here's a tool that I got turned on to recently. It's called the IP to GPT Wizard. It's a friend of mine named Justin. He put this together. This is great. A lot of people are using this. It's a great shortcut. This is the same process that I use to turn my intellectual property into a custom GPT. So here's how his wizard works. I'll put a link in the description if you want to go check it out. All right, so when you open up the IP to GPT wizard, there's only one button. It says click here to get started. Now how it works is pretty cool. The first thing you have to do is upload any of your knowledge, so your intellectual property. In my case, I had a PDF of me teaching how to write a Google Doc sales page, and I uploaded a transcript of a training where I'm explaining how to write a Google Doc sales page. See, I've taught this content before as part of one of my core courses. And so all I had to do now as a starting point is upload that intellectual property. That's why they call it the IP to GPT wizard. I uploaded my docs. I turned on dictation mode in ChatGPT and told it what I was trying to do. Here's my goal for this GPT. Here's how it's going to work. Here's what I've uploaded. Here's what you now have access to. I find that I can get better results from this custom GPT that makes custom GPTs if I can give it a bit more context. So I'm explaining quite a bit just with my voice, just talking through what's my vision for this GPT. What does the finish line look like? What would a good job look like, etc. And I said, oh, I want to name this GPT the Sales-Page-O-Matic. Thought that was kind of a funny name, like a contraption you would find in a Dr. Seuss book. And so then it reads my stuff. I don't really know how it works, but it doesn't really matter because it's awesome. So it says, here's what I've gotten. I've reviewed both docs. And then what's cool, the way they've set this up, I'm now in phase 1 extract, and here's the structured summary of the findings. On the right-hand side, if it's got a check mark, then you're good to go. But if it has some kind of warning, I think it's yellow. There's a yellow here, and there's yellow here. So it's just sharing what item it's looking at, what it finds, the source for what it found, and is it good to go or not, okay? So now I look back at this and go, okay, well, it looks like it's got some gaps. It says, what do we need to do if we're selling a physical product? Now for me, I don't really coach people who sell physical products, and the same thing was it was asking about physical products. No problem. I turned on dictation mode because it says next step, is everything good to go or do you want to add some context? And I said, looking at your output, I don't do physical products. So we don't need to cover that. And it said, cool, that makes total sense. Now it updated item number 11. It says we don't need to worry about that. So it's now resolved. And we don't need to worry about that because we don't do physical products. And so now that's resolved. Phase 1 is complete. Moving on to phase 2. Isn't that cool? So far I've just uploaded some intellectual property and it has extracted what was in it. And it's told me that it got stuck. Sometimes when I upload the intellectual property, the wizard doesn't have any questions and it's totally good to go. In this case, it had 2 little things. And I love how ChatGPT is so intuitive that when I just turn on dictation mode, I can say, hey, for item number 11, here's the answer to that, and item number 13, and it knows exactly what we're talking about. So it's so simple. This took me just a few minutes to pull together yesterday. So phase 1 is complete. What it will do is spit out some ideas for complete wizards, which is kind of cool. And then it'll also give you some ideas for single focused wizard ideas. So these are all awesome, by the way. I want this one. I want Sales-Page-O-Matic. Give me the full thing. But it also has some really cool ideas, like a hook writer or a story sharpener or a belief shifter or an offer describer, a CTA closer. I thought that was all pretty cool. I don't need those. I want to go all in. So give me the first one is what I said. And I tell them how it works. And it says, this is great. We'll now build it out with direct integration of the training you've included. Here's a quick confirmation before I write the GPT instructions. Your people will already have the following. So we'll behave this way. We'll prompt them. We'll use that to describe the offer section, make sure that they're not blocked. And I like when the GPTs I make act as a coach and they can give them a pep talk. They can tighten up any framing because I work a lot in the marketing space and help people write emails and host workshops and create sales pages. And sometimes by default, people get really good at their craft, but they're not good at writing a sales page. So if they're writing a sales page and the wizard would see that it's kind of weak, I want it to act like a marketing or persuasion or copywriting coach and offer to tighten up how they phrased it, if that makes sense. So you just tell it that, like, that's how I want you to behave. So I'll skip all my parts where I'm talking on for a while about it, but I want to give it the final instructions. And it says, here's how it's going to go. Here's your final structure. Phase 1, gather inputs. It'll ask, do you already have your anchor model ready? If so, please upload it or paste it in. If not, we'll guide them to define big goal, problems, pillars, and projects. Great. Anchor offer. Do you already have your offer? If not, it'll gather the promise, the price point, the payment plans, bonus guarantee, scarcity, urgency. Great. Phase 2, once you have those things, you're going to build the sales page the following way. The hook, the personal story, shift the belief, describe the offer, present the plan. So honestly, when I saw this, I thought, shift the belief, that wasn't really part of my training. And so I talked about that. So I said, shift the belief. You say truth bombs and busting myths. The next piece of this is actually starting to acknowledge that there's problems. Like, I don't know what you're talking about here, so don't do that. It basically is what I said. Just kind of summarizing there. Perfect. Thanks for the clarification. Glad you flagged it. Here's how we're going to shift based on your feedback. And it said, this is how we're going to do it. Is this cool? I said, this looks great. Thank you. This now mirrors your teaching. If this looks good to you, I'll move on to phase 3 and I'll build the GPT. Ready to roll? I said, go for it. So Sales-Page-O-Matic is live and ready to go. What it did is it built out the canvas. It looks like this. And this is I think it's called Markdown. It's the code that you would then take and put into your custom GPT. Now, as you see, this says you're viewing a previous version. Why would it say that? Glad you asked. When I reviewed this, I copy and pasted the code into the custom GPT. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. And I ran through it once. And what I was annoyed by one of the pieces of functionality. Like, it was saying, it kept asking me questions that it should already know. And I got annoyed at that. And so I went back into this and gave it some feedback. I said, hey, I just tested it. It worked well, but it kept asking for me to tell it about my anchor model, then my anchor offer. That part was nice, but then it kept asking me to repeat myself. So stop it. And it said, got it. I'm going to fix it. And here's the output. So now I went and clicked copy and I went into custom GPTs and I created a custom GPT with this instruction. And then that was it. I hit publish, I hit create. You share the link with your people and now they can interact with it. So again, this is one I charged $27 for. It was an order bump on a recent workshop I hosted that was $20. Over half of the people took this order bump because I gave them my templates as part of the workshop, but I said, hey, I've got a wizard that'll do this for you. I call it the Sales-Page-O-Matic. And a lot of people bought it. So it's really, really useful. So this is the finish line of this GPT. Your next move is to go test it out. Okay. That's what this turned into. That's what this custom GPT turned into. Now, if you don't know the next step, I'll walk you through how do you actually create a custom GPT? How do you take the output from the wizard and now turn it into a GPT? You click on create and then you paste those instructions here. So you give it a name, tell it whatever you want to call it. make a logo or have Dolly do it, upload a photo, doesn't matter. What's a short description? And then you paste those instructions. Then you upload your files. So I went ahead and uploaded my source files, the same ones I gave to the IP to GPT wizard. The cool thing too, this is written in a way, it's got these, I don't know how to do this, but it's got these golden rules. It's got some security and privacy built in. It's got edge cases and exceptions. Like, this tool works so well. I've probably used it to make 20 custom GPTs. Some of them I sell, some of them I include in the program, and it's so helpful. So again, if you want my shortcut, just click the link in the description. You'll go to this website and you will click purchase and you will buy it, and it will save you so much money. My recommendation is you can give the wizards away if you want, but my recommendation is that you sell them. You include them as order bumps and upsells or flash sales, or build out your own custom GPT store on your website. But if you're helping anybody with any kind of knowledge-based business, IP to GPT wizard is something I highly recommend. And it's been one of those, I bought a lot of stuff on the internet. It's been one of those rare things that I can directly track a ton of ROI because it's not that expensive to buy. And I've made a couple $1,000 so far. I've only owned this service for like a few months, and it's something that's really, really, really paying off. So go check it out. That's the simple way. That's the shortcut. That's the way I'm building so many profitable custom GPTs simply.